everyone, we're ready for our 1D notes. This is the end really of the section that we've been doing on division, and this is finding errors and problem solving with division. So finding errors in work is a very practical skill. Lots of times we need to go back over our work and see where we made a mistake, and that's a fancy word for this is called error analysis. So what we're going to do with these problems is, first of all, we're going to rework the problem. We know that this is wrong because it says find the error. So we're going to rework the problem correctly. I find that if you do the problem first and work it out correctly, it's a lot easier to spot where the error was. And then we're going to explain what the error was on the lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and do my division here for myself and see if I can spot the error. So I'm putting my dividend inside the house, 3,220. And my divisor outside of the house. I can't divide 14 into 3. 14 will go into 32. I think that'll be 2 times because 14 and 14 is 28, and that's pretty close to 32. So 14 times 2 is 28. Subtract here. 8 from 12 is 4. And of course that's 0. Bring down my 2. I think 14 times 3 will work here, but I'll check it out. I can just do my little division my little multiplication off to the side here. So 3 times 4 is 12, carry my 1, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So that's 42, exactly right on the dot. So put a 3 here, do that multiplication, do our subtraction. Now, we have a 0 here, but we can't just quit because there's another number to bring down yet. So we have to bring that down. And 14 goes into 0 0 times. So we have to mark that with a 0. Don't forget to do that. If you've got a 0 hanging out over here, you have to put your answer, 14 times 0 is 0. We could go ahead and do this subtraction if we wanted to, if it makes us feel better. 14 times 0 is 0, subtract, and there's nothing to bring down. So our answer is 230 instead of 23. They forgot to finish the problem. They forgot to put a 0 up here in the quotient. So now to finish my problem off, I have to write down here what the problem was. And I wrote down the problem is unfinished. A 0 needs to be placed in the quotient, in the answer, to show 14 divides into 0 0 times. So that explains what was wrong with this problem. Okay, our next problem is similar. We're supposed to find the error. So again, we're going to go ahead and do our division. So we have 563 divided by 4. 4 divides into 5 once. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract and we get 1. Bring down our 16. 4 divides into 16 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Subtract, we have 0. Bring down our 3. We can't divide 4 into 3, but we're not done because we can't just do a remainder up there. And we have to mark that 4 cannot be divided into 3. So 4 doesn't divide into 3 at all. So we mark that with a placeholder here. We have to put a 0 up there to show that this was a bring down and 4 can't divide in. Then we place our decimals, add a 0, and bring it down. 4 divides into 30 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. Do our subtraction. We get 2 here. Still not done. Now, notice we don't place a 0 up here because this was the result of the subtraction, not a bring down. It's only when we have a bring down that our dividend cannot divide in that we place a 0 up here. Only the bring downs get zeros. This is a subtraction problem here. Alright, so we add another 0, bring that down. 4 divides into 25 times. 5 times 4 is 20. We subtract, and yay, we're at 0. So what's the problem over here? Instead of 14,075, the answer should have been 140 and 75 hundredths. So that's a huge difference there. All right, so our error here is that they placed their decimal in the dividend, but they forgot to place it in the quotient as well. So I just wrote a decimal should be placed in the quotient and the dividend. And you could stop there, but if you wanted to make sure that I knew you knew what was going on, you could follow up with this. The decimal is missing between the 0 and the 7 in the answer or quotient. Now we're going to apply our division skills that we've been working so hard on to some practical applications. So here's the situation. Barbara went to the store and bought 5 shirts for $82. How much did each shirt cost? So she spent a total of $82 and she got home with 5 shirts. So in order to find out what one cost, we're going to take our $82 and divide it by 5. 5 divides into 8 once. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtracting, we get 3. 3 is less than 5, so we're good. Bring down our 2. 5 divides into 32 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. Subtract, and we have 2 left over. So we can't have a remainder. We add our decimal points in 2 places here, in the quotient and in the dividend. Bring down, add and bring down a 0. 5 divides into 20 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract the 20 and we get 0. Now, that's 16 4/10. But remember, for money, we usually have 2 digits after the decimal point. This is the tenths place and this is the hundredths place. And so we want to add a 0 in that hundredths place just to fill that place value in so that it looks like money, like what we're used to seeing for money, but doesn't change the value at all. So this is $16.40. Okay, here's our last problem. Mrs. Smith has 324 pencils. She wants to hand them all out equally to her 27 students. How many pencils can she give each student? So we're going to take the 324 pencils that she has, and we're going to divide those by the 27 students that she wants to give them to. 27 won't divide into 3, but 27 divides into 32 only one time. We can only take 27 out of 32 once. We subtract here, and we get 5. Bring down our 4. 27 times 2 is 54. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty confident that's correct. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so 54. So we put a 2 right here. And 2 times 27 is 54. Subtract, got my subtraction sign there, and 0. So we see that Mrs. Smith can give each one of her students 12 pencils. So we'll practice with this some more in class. Right now, would you please flip your paper over and please put a star next to the very first problem so that I know you finished the notes all the way through. See you in class, guys.